さあパジャマを脱いであの街へと出かけようもうさよならするの深呼吸1、2準備はいいかな思い出の店
It is 9:04 p.m. on Saturday, December 30th, 2017. You're listening to episode 51 of Oh No Anime, the podcast. My name's Mark.
Hello, Patrick.
Hello, everybody. It's that time of the year.
Yeah,
It's that end of the year.
We only have one more day of 2017.
We sure.
Thank you.
Bless it. And now for 2018 to come in and make 2017 look like the best year ever.
Don't say that.
No, but I will say this. This is the 2017 retrospective.
We
do
retrospective.
It every year. We've done it for the past couple years. Today we're going to sit back and relax and talk about the year that was in 2017 anime. We're mostly going to be running through some categories, basically the same categories that we always do with some minor changes.
It's the usual.
Because they've worked for us in the past, and we like them, and it's easy. So, yeah.
You're not wrong.
No more explanation needed than that.
Do it because we want to.
We do it because we want to, and this is our podcast, God damn it. We could do whatever we want. I could say the word shenanigans right now, and no one could stop me.
I just want to go to shenanigans.
I want to go to Fuddruckers. Let's do it.
Well, there's a new one in Orlando.
Yeah, the most depressing...
Man.
Think of the worst place you could put a Fuddruckers, and there is one there.
There it is. Hey, it could be worse. What if they open like a Johnny Rockets there?
A Johnny... what is
it in
what's the anime
version?
I don't know. Johnny Beps. It's Johnny Beps.
Beppis.
Johnny Beps old-fashioned diner. Yeah, so this is the year it was, 2017. It was a year... I don't know if it was a particularly good year for anime.
You know, it was. There
was a lot of good anime.
Yeah, it was solid. The thing is, I don't think the peaks and valleys were as high and low as last year.
Yeah, it was pretty middling.
Yeah. That's not to say there wasn't good, because there was definitely some...
We're going to be talking about...
There was some good.
In true Ono anime fashion, we are going to be talking about only the good this year, except for one category where we can vent our problems. But other than that, let's jump into it. And also in true Ono anime fashion, we're going to be starting with music categories.
Us? Never.
Yeah, if only to get our conversation that undoubtedly no one wants to hear out of the way. It's just starting it up real strong. Let's talk about our favorite opening, or OP.
Our favorite anime op.
Our favorite anime operation. Should I go first?
I can go first. Mine.
You go first.
Mine actually squeaks in on a technicality. I have My Generation by The Who.
God damn it! You told me you were going to do that, and I still forgot.
Yeah, it was technically an anime opening, and technically the best one. It was the opening for Silent Voice. I have a real choice too, though. But y'all
Is this
have
just
that
like
opening.
Technically, Don't Want to Miss a Thing was in an anime insert song at one point.
Yes.
Okay.
Don't Want to Miss a Thing. We've had Oasis show up in Eden of the East before.
I'm really fucking mad that there wasn't a JoJo series this year, so I could say like, yeah, Walk Like an Egyptian by the Bangles was my favorite anime ending.
To be fair, Roundabout would have been a solid choice that year.
Yeah, too bad we didn't exist.
Bummer.
We're butt babes in this industry, boys.
Anyway, so I mean, you can thank that song for that movie taking so long to come out here. It is that song and Yamada's fault. But my actual favorite opening is, it's not like, I don't feel ridiculously strong about it like I have in previous years, but it's actually from this season, the Anime Gatari's opening Aikoroba by Garnadelia, for a couple reasons. One,
right,
it is a fucking earworm. I've listened to that like several times a day since it showed up on YouTube. And two, it doesn't sound like most Garnadelia music.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know what it sounds like, but not like them. And I love it when artists kind of do that. They come out of nowhere and just like hit you on the left side of the head with a bat, and it sticks.
2017 was kind of the year of unexpected artists and sound for opening and ending in anime. I feel like just the general, style is starting to shift away from like, the more stereotypical sounding stuff that, Garnadelia was kind of made famous for, like, these female singer-songwriters of the past few years that got really popular on their anime openings, like, Air, Aoi, and Lisa, Calafina, and Garnadelia definitely slots in there. But this is a year where Garnadelia doesn't even sound like Garnadelia anymore.
No,
so.
And I really, really like that song.
Yeah.
That's not leaving my playlist anytime soon.
For real. Mine probably is not going to be a surprise to anybody considering how I fucking talked about it all year, but Sora ni Utaiba by Amazurashi, which was the third My Hero Academia opening. Speaking of things that Mark Schultz did not think was going to happen ever, Amazurashi doing a hot-blooded shonen opening in very much their own style is not something that I ever thought I'd see, let alone on my favorite shonen show of all time.
You can say
yes, easily.
I was about to say, what else would even get close to you for Hero Academia?
I mean, I do. There are some. I don't know.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think. Yeah.
And that is okay.
Yeah, I don't really think I've ever felt stronger about a shonen than this.
There is nothing wrong with what you're feeling, Mark.
Yeah. No, I know.
It's completely
No one's going to tell me
natural
that
at
I'm
this
wrong. Because nobody can tell me what my favorite thing is. But yeah, I really like Amazurashi. They have been stuck in the rut of doing Tokyo Ghoul and other assorted edgy show openings.
Tokyo Ghoul is automatically a rut.
Not using their... It is. Let's not mince words here. It is. Shout out to whoever gets Tokyo Ghoul the opening job for that weird series that they're doing next year. Shout out, meaning my condolences to whoever gets that fucking job. Probably the guy from the Psycho-Pass opening. But
Toshite, what?
Yeah. But anyway, so this year was kind of their coming out of the box here because they did that really awesome song for Nier that was kind of released alongside of the game that
I forgot about that.
I kind of wish was featured in the game somewhere, but it
would be cool if it was, but I don't know where that would have fit.
I don't know. I mean, if the end credit song didn't already exist, it would be a great place to put it. But
yeah, the end credit song is perfect.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, this just am very happy to see Amazurashi finally using their talents for good as opposed to evil.
That is such a good way to put that when you have Tokyo Ghoul next to your academia. Even if you like Tokyo Ghoul, if you had to pick good and evil.
For all my Star Wars nerds out there, they're the Darth Revan of anti-song bands. He became a Sith Lord and then switched to light. He's known for walking both sides of the path.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Amazurashi, truly the Darth Revan of anti-song bands.
Is that still canonical, or was that EU that got wiped?
No, it's not.
Rip.
He's gone. Actually, I don't know. I want to say there was a reference to him in Clone Wars somewhere that, basically anything that happens in Clone Wars makes it canon. So he's probably just like a weird wispy ghost now and didn't ever actually exist.
Technicality, just like the Who.
Yeah, almost in all of the Old Republic stuff is just completely gone, which is a real bummer because there's some good stuff in there, really and also not a bummer at all because there's mostly shit back there. So, anyways,
no more tiptoeing. Good thing midichlorians are still in though. I'm glad.
Favorite Ed. Favorite ED.
Hello,
ending.
My name is Ed.
Favorite Ed.
I actually had the Girl's Last Story ending here, and it is really good, don't get me wrong. And then I don't know how the hell I forgot that Delco did so many endings.
Okay, which one do you have?
I have Heike Goodbye Sayonara,
Okay.
the first Virgin Soul ending. Yours is, I can guess already because it's amazing.
Yes.
That's what made me remember the one that I'm sure you're about to do. But Heike Goodbye Sayonara is my favorite Dalco song, first of all. And I'm a huge Dalco fan. I have been for years and years, and finally got to see her this year. And that song...
Yeah, that was cool, huh?
Yeah, that was pretty
Didn't
fucking
think that
dope.
was ever going to happen.
Yeah, that is insane when I take a step back and realize what I just said.
I don't know if it's ever going to sink in because I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, yeah, that's fucking crazy that we saw Dalco
2 feet away from her too. It was nuts. Fucking Dalco in Atlanta.
Yep.
Fuck. But I Gotta Goodbye Sayonara, it was great as an ending for Rage of Bahamut, don't get me wrong, but as a song it came out at a part of my life where the lyrics were so hysterically applicable to what was going on in my life. I just had that shit on loop at work all day every day. I could fucking do the whole thing right here. I'll spare you. Stick here after the credits. But
I want to at least have some people still listening by the end of this episode. So
says you.
We'll do a karaoke stream soon.
Oh my lord. But yeah, Dalco is one of my all-time favorites, and this was by far my favorite song of hers this year. So that's a pretty easy choice.
Mine is Step Up Love by Daoko
Yeah,
and
I knew that was
Yasuki
coming.
Okumura from Kekai Sensen and Beyond.
That's
or
really fucking good too.
BBB&B.
That one is more of a jam than Hakuto.
It is a fucking jam. It's very outside of Daoko's sphere, so it's really cool to see her.
She's doing more stuff like that too.
Yeah, and fucking Yasuki Okumura came back. I guess he's not doing cocaine anymore. Like he's or maybe he's doing a shitload of cocaine, and that's why he's
that
back.
Song,
I don't
it could
know.
be.
Yeah, it's a jam. Yeah,
Yeah. They had a lot to stand up to after
Sugar Song to
and
Bitter Step.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, that's fair because they are doing the opening. That Unison Square Garden is doing the opening this season.
which is also really good.
Yes, it is. Almost entirely in English too, which is super weird for a
Yeah,
band
the
like
lyrics
them.
the lyrics are not great. The song is fantastic.
It's more coherent than most songs sung in English by people who don't speak English. But the ending animation for that was also really cool. 'Cause it's all like very like graffiti inspired and like all over the place. Definitely a very good follow up to the first.
It's a jam.
It's a fucking jam. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like shocked when I heard it because I was just like the last person I was expecting to be ending Kekai Sensen is Daoko and the guy that did the Space Dandy opening together in the same song.
That's nuts. So we're gonna hear a lot more of her in anime next year.
Totally.
She has she did a movie. She did Uchiage Hanabi, which is gonna drop on Blu-ray next year, which is awesome. And she's doing a collab with Beck. Like
that's
like
happening.
Beck.
That's really fucking weird.
Yeah, that's crazy. So she's gonna be all over the place. Keep your eyes open for Daoko.
I like his anime though. It's pretty good anime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a few years ago.
It's a sick Beck joke for all you Beck lovers out there. Shout out to Joel Osteen, its favorite OST or OST.
Are you gonna do this for all the categories?
No,
or are we
because that's
done
the
after
only.
this?
That's the only.
Joel Osteen. Way to open your church doors, you jerk.
Yeah. Fuck you, Joel Osteen. But don't fuck you, the people who made these OSTs. Since you're dying laughing over here at my sick joke, I'm going to start.
This isn't laughter. This is something entirely different.
Shame. I can see it. Favorite OST, original soundtrack, again, should come as no surprise. My Hero Academia, Season 2, Yuki Hayashi.
There's not a ton to say about that.
Need I say more? It's amazing. Jet Set Run, the new You Say Run.
Yeah. Is that the actual name? Is it Jet Set Run?
It's Jet Set Run, yeah.
That's kind of awesome.
It's just, it's the best soundtrack Yuki Hayashi's ever done. It's probably one of the best bombastic anime soundtracks ever made. It's just fucking so integral to that show's success in every way.
Talking about mood setting, it's incredible.
It's used perfectly in every instance. It's just, man, when a theme that you recognize starts up in that show, it just creates such excitement from me and everyone else I know that watched it. So
our boy Yuki Hayashi is going to be doing the new Precure next year.
That's I can't even imagine what that's going to be like.
Man, I am so excited.
It's going to be wild.
So my turn to not make a Joel Osteen joke ever again. For me, it was Michiru Oshima with Little Witch Academia soundtrack. Like, for me, and I think last time I gave it to Oshima, I mentioned the fact that it's more of a score than a soundtrack.
It totally is.
And it works. So you can still listen to it solo, and it's still, like, fun and good, but, like...
It's a very traditional, very Western style.
Yeah, Oshima scored that show and scored it phenomenally. Yeah, like it sets the mood. You know, you got the motifs to go with different characters. It swells when it needs to swell. It backs up when it needs to back up. It's
totally
some Howard Shore shit in there, man. It's Lord of the Rings.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's good. It is real good.
It is very good. Moving on, favorite male character. Why don't you go first?
You wouldn't tell me yours. So I actually went with Leonardo Watch.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, he's I was, and we talked about this on the podcast a lot. I was so worried going into the new Blood Blockade Battlefront because we didn't have the director there, a lot of the staff, and it didn't matter.
Yeah, isn't that hilarious that we were at all worried about the success of that
anything,
season?
I wouldn't say it was better than the first, but it was more Blood Blockade Battlefront than the first. Like, the episodicness really, really helps everything in that show, and Leonardo, his character arcs in this, he had the bit of a seriousness at the end with the eyes on the sister, and he pulls through. It's fucking Tortoise
He
Knight.
was definitely a like almost a side character, even though he was the protagonist in the first season. Whereas
not so much here.
I think a lot of people thought the show would suffer due to the lack of black and white, but I actually think it was a tremendous boon to Leonardo's character in this show, in that it allowed him to finally settle into the role of protagonist, and you started actually seeing the world through his eyes, as opposed to just kind of watching him do stuff. He really
was the star of the show, and it was a really good show.
He had some really fucking good moments throughout the season and was featured more, and I think the show was better for it. Honestly, I
would definitely agree.
It was really cool.
The episodes that he wasn't featured were also really good, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's
fucking KK episode.
Well, yeah,
Ooh.
The KK episode, the chain episode where she's like in the drinking competition with that guy.
Yep.
It's just everybody's feature episodes were really good. I'm also really glad that the guy that is very clearly based on Abe Sapien, that I can't remember his name right now, that Zed just calls Fishman, had his episode.
Yeah,
that was really cool.
That was a fucking great episode too. Yeah, that was a really good show.
Awesome that like they've like showing him in his like giant water tank finally allowed me to realize that it's like, no, it's not coincidence. Like Yasuhiro Naito definitely
he
loves
knows.
Mike Mignola and definitely was trying to, pass an homage to him, but and he did a good job, and that show is amazing. Easily one of the best shows of this year. And
it was right up there.
My favorite male character, again, should come as no surprise. It is Shoto Todoroki from My Hero Academia.
Got some depth.
I was going to say, you really would be challenged to find more character development in a shonen tertiary character than Todoroki, especially since in the first season he was literally a background character who they teased at being like the most powerful of the students in that class, but then season 2 came around and he went from background character to literally the most important character in most of season 2, and seeing the whole tournament arc not only allowed himself to develop as more of a sympathetic and more of a true hero in his own way, and allowed him to soften, I think, and finally like understand what it means to be his own type of hero, but also really allowed Midoriya to develop as well through his relationship with Todoroki, where obviously Todoroki saw Midoriya and Bakugo as like the two main threats, and while Bakugo is never going to be friends with anybody, the way that Midoriya simultaneously stoked Todoroki into realizing his true potential and also became very good friends with him at the same time is like really amazing, because like you basically go from the tournament arc where the last thing you see is Midoriya and Todoroki literally like blowing up the entire stadium trying to like defeat each other, to the the heat of the Stain arc where like Midoriya has Todoroki's number in his phone and texts him and Todoroki's there within like 2 seconds. Like that shit. Their friendship is one of the most wonderful things I've ever seen in an anime. It
helps both of them so much as characters. It's really good.
I love their dynamic so much. Like it's very clear that Deku really respects Todoroki because not only of like how much he's gone through as a person and like how much he's had to deal with in life, but also just like obviously the immense power that he's capable of outputting, but also like seeing that Todoroki also has like the same amount of respect for Midoriya because he's like basically indebted to him for allowing him to realize his true potential is like, it's really cool to see something like that pay off with someone like Todoroki, who in any other show would just be like the typical cold man, angry boy character.
He's a bit of an antagonist, and they made him warm up because turning antagonists into friends is something that shonen does, but normally it's not done as well, just frankly.
There's very little depth to it usually in shonen, and I think obviously like, the star of the show in My Hero Academia is the emotional vulnerability of the characters on screen. And that's something that really is not represented better anyway than I think Todoroki's
all the bravado of
development.
American comics with Boys Can Cry of Shonen Jump. That's what makes it so good.
Yeah. But I mean, it also takes that. I mean, like very, very few, if any, manga even currently in Shonen Jump are not only allow this level of emotional vulnerability with the male characters, but also like have as many prominent female characters in their ranks as well. Not to mention like the just insane like variance between personality types, and it's really good. But Todoroki, I think, represents exactly why I love that show so much, is just because his character transformed in such a way that is so like anti-shonen in every way, to where like it's not like at all a begrudging friendship between him and Midoriya. Like he still has the sort of like cold, walled off tendencies, but there's such a great deal of like love and respect between him and Midoriya that is just like super inspiring and awesome and like realistic, because like that's what friendship is like. So he's good.
A good boy.
He is a very good boy. All right. Favorite female character.
I'll admit, at first I had Foss, and then I was just like, oh shit, they're genderless.
Well, yeah, we're getting there.
Yeah. But I had to go with Akko from Little Witch Academia. She's
good choice.
I don't know how much I could talk about it, but she's a Disney main character. I'm a Disney fan.
Basically.
So pure and joyous, and just never gives up, and just keeps on fucking fighting.
Endlessly optimistic.
Fun to watch.
Endlessly optimistic and idealistic.
It's
in the face of all odds.
Not like annoyingly so, though. I'm sure plenty of people find it annoying, but I find it endearing.
It is very endearing.
I really like that about her.
Yeah, she is a very much a product of Trigger's very sometimes pure sensibilities.
Yeah, no, that's Yoshinari Yo at work. Like,
yeah,
it's exactly the character that he wanted to make, and she's great.
Yeah,
I wish I could be more verbose on what I like about her, but it's so pure. It needs so few words.
Yeah. I'm not going to be very verbose on mine either, because it's another fairly obvious one, but my favorite female character is Yumiko Jabami from Kakegurui. I said a lot about her in the
still not on Netflix,
summer. By the way. Yeah, I know. I said a lot about her in the Summer Awards episode, so if you want to know like my full opinions on why I think she's such a good character, go watch that. But yeah, she's just fucking she is the ultimate like step on me character. She is a queen. She is like the dominatrix to end all dominatrixes. She's incredible, and is just a flawlessly executed and highly unique character in a world of boring bullshit.
Yeah.
And I'm excited that anime was made, and I want more of it very badly. Also, her I spoke on this earlier in the year too, but her dynamic with the president in that show is among some of my favorite rivalrous dynamics I've ever seen in anime. It's really good. So on to a new category that we made specifically to discuss Land of the Lustrous characters. And that is favorite gender neutral, gender queer, or otherwise non-gender normative character. So let's talk about some gems.
The fact that Foss was literally Kumiko in the beginning.
She was.
She was literally Kumiko. Was really good. And the change that she went through, while absolutely crazy, made perfect sense as she started to emulate an archetype. And I had so much about that show was based on Foss's journey that I loved, that it's really hard not to give it to Foss. But there's so many other characters specifically from that show that could work.
They're all good. There is not a single bad character. It's incredible.
The doctor, I forget what was the doctor one's. Yeah, some gem.
Bort, Daya. What's the one that they Paparacha? The one.
Yeah, Paparacha at the end. Yeah, with the crazy red hair, the super old one.
I'm sad
Paparacha was so good.
We did not get to see more of them, because holy shit. Because that was.
I went and I bought the entirety of the manga that's out in English. It's on its way here.
One of the more like hunky, like male leaning characters, like literally walking around with an open shirt.
Looked like a fucking Ikuhara character. Like Paparacha could have been a
look like an
lieutenant.
Ikuhara character and also look like the lead singer of an 80s like X Japan or something. Like literally could have
fucking visual
been
K,
standing.
glammy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's man. But
Impression was really
mine
cool.
was Antarcticite because I just really like their design. Just the idea that there is a gem that only appears in winter because it's not cold enough year round
Yeah.
for them to like
To exist.
exist is super amazing. And like I
Yeah.
literally posted something on Twitter when they showed up. Sorry, it's so hard to like every time I think that the show can't introduce a more like devastatingly cool looking, incredibly
every time.
androgynous character, Antarcticite shows up, and like she's got a cool they have a cool
Antarctica
serrated
has it, yeah.
sword, and the heels that like used to run on the ice. Like it's such
Everything's
a cool
cool.
idea.
And then their relationship with Sensei was pretty hysterical.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was really good.
Honestly, everyone's relationship with Sensei. Sensei in general is just fucking really funny most of the time. Like
The fucking dog.
like almost all of the comic relief in that show revolves around like them pissing off Sensei.
falling asleep and just like crushing a wall with his head.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so much to love about that
Oh
show.
god. And who is it? The twins that
Amethyst.
Yeah, Amethyst like clinking their heads together.
Ugh.
Just
Yeah, it
Yeah.
could be any one of those characters. I was so glad at the end. I spoke about this on the podcast earlier that Zircon finally got lines because it's Himika Akin. She's like one of my favorite idols. She's in Prepara, and she had one line. And her head flew off in an earlier episode, and that was it. And I was like, "Motherfucker!" But finally, like I think the last episode or the second to last episode, Zircon finally got some lines, and it was funny because that character was literally just Himika's speaking voice. Like, there was no acting there.
That show is really good.
I'm gonna watch it again, like soon.
Yeah,
I want to marathon
really fucking hope that somebody gets the Blu-rays for that thing because I want to see what full 1080p. I want to see what that shit looks like in full 1080p.
Definitely. So the upscale.
Also, one gem that we totally have not talked about yet, and that is Cinnabar. Cinnabar is really fucking good.
Cinnabar was
Although
really amazing.
I feel like they did not get enough.
There's a lot more there.
Like they did not appear on screen as much as I would have liked.
Shinsha.
Because they set up, this whole thing between Foss and Cinnabar like at the beginning of the season, and that's like kind of the one thing that never really played out. Mostly because I think it will eventually down the line if they make more
memories.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Yeah, but it's just, man, what a crazy show, and like every single character is good. Even like the king of the ocean and her brother.
That was so cool.
That was an interesting thing.
Fuck.
Yeah. And
I can't wait to read the manga. I don't know how far ahead the manga goes, but I'm going to be reading that as it comes out for sure.
Yeah, I really hope that show gets a second season because, I mean, sure generated enough
unique,
buzz to
amazing
hopefully be popular. All right, moving on. We have the category Favorite Male Seiyu.
Yeah, this one is a cop-out for me, but I just went with my favorite male Seiyu because he had roles this season, which is Yuichi Nakamura. But to be fair, Yuichi Nakamura had some very good roles this season. The one that got me the most was from Eccentric Family, which you didn't watch, did you?
No, I didn't.
That's the one in Kyoto about the Tanuki
like
family.
The third season of that show, right?
That's the second.
Oh,
but it's you should watch it just for Benten-sama. You would love Benten-sama. But Yuichi Nakamura plays one of the elder characters of the antagonist, or the elder brothers of the antagonist family here. And I don't want to give out any spoilers for anybody that plans to watch it, but that character goes through a large shift, so much so that like their voice and like the way everything they act changes, and he nailed it as expected. And I guess technically he's Karamatsu. Not that I'm watching that or ever will.
No. Nobody should.
But no, I'm more looking forward to his roles next year. Specifically, he's going to be in Grand Cross Senki, which is going to be really fucking good.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. It'll be interesting. Mine was probably one that might surprise some people, but I thought Akira Ishida had a really good year this year.
You're not wrong.
He was Kanazawa in Girls Last Tour. He is Tsukasha Eishi, who is the first seat in Food Wars. Obviously Kikuhiko in Showa Genroku Rakugo Shinju, and Toji Soya in March Comes In Like a Lion. I think he really showed his range this year. He's a very I tend to like voice actors from the older generation who have a lot of range but also are like very affable. He's usually a very subtle, downplayed performer, so it was really cool to see him kind of come out of his shell maybe is not the right word, but like his performance alone with Kikuhiko and the fact that he had to put on that old man voice the entire time and then incredible. Deliver like full Rakugo tales in that voice is an incredible feat of voice acting and would have probably won him my appreciation irregardless of anything else this year. But he's had a pretty damn good year. And he kind of always, obviously the one big role that I didn't mention because I feel like I don't need to is obviously he's Katsura in Gintama, which is back. But yeah, he's really solid. I feel like he's kind of in the same vein as like, I feel like I always pick Shinichiro Miki. They're both from the same, they're both from the same generation. They're both older. They're both, kind of voicing older characters now. And, I don't know. I think he delivered some really fantastic performances this year. So on to the favorite female seiyuu category. And for those of you that have not listened to our previous 2 years, the same voice actress, Saori Hayami,
as long as she's working,
Saori Hayami has won the past 2 years for both of us unanimously favorite female seiyuu or voice actor. But
this year's no different.
This year is no different. Saori Hayami has now become three-time Oto Anime champion. Here
comes a dynasty.
And
it's not without good reason. If nothing else, a silent voice. That's enough to win.
Yeah, I didn't even put that on this list because I completely forgot about it.
Technically, it came out in Japan at 16.
True.
But here, 17.
Yeah. Silent voice. I mean, here, I'll just rattle off some roles this year. She was Nino Arisugawa in Anonymous Noise, Archer of Red in Fate Apocrypha, Monkey in Juni Tyson, Gosha Knight in Land of the Lustrous, Victoria Ivanovna Serebrakyov in Tiny the Evil.
Visha.
Yumiko Jabami in Kakigurui and Yotsugi Ononoki and Owari Monogatari.
That is a very good role for her too.
All of them are very good roles for her because she has had yet another year that has surpassed all previous years in terms of demonstrating her range, her ability as both a serious voice actress and someone who can deliver some like truly entertaining shit. She continues to have the most unique sounding voice of anyone working in the industry today, male or female, by like a huge margin. She just has the sweetest sounding voice. It's
like honey.
It is truly like honey. And she did shit this year that I never thought she would do, like front an imaginary anime band and voice probably the best character she's ever voiced in Yumiko Jabami in terms of just like demonstrating her ability as a voice actress to just go batshit crazy on the mic. So yeah, I this might seem like a cop-out to some people that haven't been following us, but let me tell you something. Never once have I felt bad about giving my favorite seiyuu to Saori Hayami because no one has even come close most years.
And there's a lot of women who had multiple fantastic roles this year, as there are every year. But even then, yeah, I'm the same way. I don't feel bad giving it to Saori Hayami, not in the least.
She's just like she's an anime industry staple at this point. Like it's almost surprising to not hear her somewhere in a show nowadays. But also, we talked about this on an earlier episode, but Saori Hayami has managed to make a name for herself on pure voice acting talent alone. She
doesn't do any of that idol shit.
She doesn't do any of the idol shit.
Doesn't do gravure modeling.
Doesn't. Nothing. Yeah, I mean, yeah. She doesn't even really do a whole lot of like fashion stuff or anything. She is a voice actor in the old school sense. And the fact that she has managed to carve out a niche for herself, and not only that, but get more work than any other female seiyuu today is truly incredible. So, I mean, that's just, I feel like that gives it to her alone because she stands among no one. She is the top of the food chain right now.
A force.
Yeah, definitely a force to be reckoned with. I cannot wait to see what 2018 looks like for her, because if 2017 is any indication, it's going to be fucking nuts.
Sarani Mukoe, right?
Yep, exactly.
Plus Ultra.
Yep.
That's her.
Go beyond. favorite band or musical act? Aqua.
Yeah. I mean, hard to argue against that one.
Yeah.
It's Love Live.
Yeah, no, I don't think you need to explain that at all.
Close runner up, SEM from Side Up.
Yeah, that's true.
And Dramatic Stars.
Really,
Like honestly, like all the
any of them,
all the Side M units are really good, but
they're all great.
It's Aqua.
Yeah, it's Aqua and it's Love Live. I mean, nothing beats it in terms of idol shit. But mine's gonna be a hard one to argue, mostly because I know no one watched this show, and it was also a bad show. But I mentioned that Sari Hayami voiced the lead singer of an imaginary anime band.
I watched it. I just didn't like it.
No, it's you and me are like one of maybe 5 people that watch the show. But In No Hurry to Shout is a imaginary band inside the show Anonymous Noise. But they recorded a shitload of music for that show, and it is so much fucking better than it deserves to be. Every time I hear it, it leaves me just absolutely gobsmacked, because every single show that I've ever seen that has that isn't Beck that has a band in it, it all just sounds like generic anti-song rock. And like I love generic anti-song rock, but in the same year where we have a show like Fuka,
I was about to say that's the music that should have been in Fuka.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been any better served because both of those shows were terrible.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: is that this shit is so much better than it deserves to be, to the point where like I'm genuinely sad that the show was so bad, because if it wasn't and if it had sold well, then like maybe we would have seen Sari Hayami like actually fronting this band and singing with them, because that would have been way cooler than any like dumb idol stuff that she could have done. Because this music is like crazy that it was made in this way. It's like almost noise rock in the sense of just like how kind of like balls to the wall and crazy it is, and also it doesn't sound like Sari Hayami singing at all, because she's basically like screaming half of the lyrics. It's very like of the 2017 like Japanese rock scene, like way outside of anime. It doesn't sound like anime rock at all. It sounds like actual, like it's very emulative of several Japanese bands that I could like rattle off. Like there is a rival band in that show that sounds exactly like Gesu no Kiwami Otome, like to a fucking T. So it was really cool to see, even if the show was shitty, it's really cool to have like 8 or so tracks that like I am still listening to like now, because they're just fucking good and good rock songs. So shout out to whoever did the music for that show. I've looked it up a couple times and don't recognize the name, and he hasn't really worked on anything else. So good flash in the pan, buddy.
It's possible they just didn't do any other anime stuff.
Probably
especially
not.
with the type of music it is. That's probably exactly what happened.
It's just
don't work in anime.
way too unique sounding and way too good to be like
Anime
insert
rock.
songs in a show that nobody watched.
Yeah.
It's like a real bummer. Biggest surprise.
This was probably the easiest thing on the list for me. Kimono Friends, bar none.
True.
Like that from the beginning. Like Kimono Friends, it was one of those like throwaway weird CG things, and I'm me, so I try to watch everything. And I watched the first episode and I was like, yeah, this is a throwaway CG thing. And then I saw it got popular on Twitter, and I was just like, why? This is fucking dumb. And then I got drunk and I gave it another shot, and holy shit, it's probably in like my top 5 for the year. Like how a small team of creators put together something that cool with the tools they had and looking that horrible is a fucking miracle. And the fact that it has so much steam in Japan, it's still going crazy. The fucking the Chapari Park girls, like they're going to be in the Kohaku.
That's crazy.
I'm not sure if they're in the Kohaku, but they just did the Fuji TV version of it. They're doing like a fucking live concert. There's a musical starting in 2 weeks. Like wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Biggest surprise, easily Kimono Friends.
Yeah. Well, since I did not watch Kimono Friends, mine is going to definitely be Just Because.
That's completely fair.
I don't know what I was expecting out of that show, but it was not what I got, and I mean that in a good way, because that show was very good.
Really good.
And even bigger than the surprise I got when realizing that show was going to be good was the surprise I got every week that Pine Jam had actually managed to put the episode out on time. They only missed one deadline, and I was super impressed because like every week, the animation was wildly inconsistent, but in a way that
shoddy.
it was incredibly charming.
Yeah, it was endearing for sure.
They put their best foot out there and they put their necks out there on the chopping block, and I think they really succeeded in making the type of show that they wanted, even if they're a very new studio with maybe not the best time management skills, and I'm sure they learned a lot of very important lessons from making Just Because, but like, you know what? Shit, man, like they still made a good show.
Yeah.
That show was great.
Very enjoyable.
And honestly, coming from the two like original creators, like the author and the artist that originally came up with that concept, like I was not expecting something this grounded.
I was hoping, but I was
serious.
not expecting. Like that was a fantastic show. That's
it really is.
That's one that I think is going to stick around in the conversation for a while.
I really hope so.
I don't think it's going to disappear.
I hope so.
It was a unique take on a lot of things, and like you said, it was super grounded in reality. The characters, the animation, even were. It was something. It
is my favorite type of that kind of show where every moment is allowed to stew for a long time.
They breathed. The characters really breathed.
Yeah.
They lived in their own melancholy.
Yeah, totally. There's just a lot of like really great shots, and like the directing was very well done in that show.
And fantastic subtle character animation.
Totally.
There was some good dramatic acting in there.
The star of that show, easily.
Easy.
And it was actually really cool seeing the final episode because they had actually, like before the show even started, like pre-animated several scenes for the finale. So it was cool kind of seeing, the show look a little bit more put together than it has all season. But if you slept on that show this season,
it's over.
Go watch it.
That'll be a good marathon, I think, too.
Yeah, it's a great show.
Yeah.
Most
enjoyable.
Underrated.
This is a weird pick for me because I did talk about it a lot on the seasonal ending, but I honestly think Knights and Magic was my most underrated. Knights and Magic was far from my favorite anime of the year, like nowhere near the list, but nobody watched it. Everybody tossed it out, which they fucked up because it was a lot of fun and it was just like pure, we like this thing, we're going to make this thing about this thing, and you're going to feel the fun through all of it. There was never a boring moment watching that show, and it didn't get its time in the light at all.
It didn't get any time in the light.
Yeah, and it was good. I really enjoyed it, damn it.
I'm trying to remember like what else was going on during that season that probably overshadowed it.
Everything.
Yeah.
I don't even remember which season it was. I just know I really liked it.
Yeah. Mine is Recreators.
That's fair.
I think it's underrated, but I also am not going to like try to fight anybody who says that they didn't like it, because it is very much like
it's divisive.
It is very much a show for people that like anime for anime's sake, and like, if you're looking for deep storytelling or anything like that, you're not going to find it. But I really liked the characters a lot. I thought the production was pretty damn slick for what they were trying to do. I loved the character designs. Obviously, the music is Sawano, so I'm automatically going to like it. And yeah, I just thought, and hey, it's a 26 episode continuous series in 2017, which is a fucking rarity.
Yep.
So good on them. But yeah, most people that I know that watched it that weren't you were just like, yeah, after like a couple episodes. And I feel like
I can see that, but like you, I watch anime because I enjoy anime as a thing, and it was fantastic for that.
Yeah, I just really like that show a lot. And also Meteora is the ultimate girlfriend character. I love her so much.
Meteora was really good.
Oh, she's so good.
She could have easily been my favorite female
She is
character.
also the most underrated character of the year. She's easily the best part of that show.
She made a recap episode, one of the most enjoyable episodes in the series.
Really fucking
That is
funny.
a heroic effort.
Yeah. She's basically the anime, like the slightly more snarky version of Raven from Teen Titans, but like not dark magic.
Yeah. Slightly less emo.
She's very good. I really like Meteora a lot. And I really like that show a lot, and you should go watch it because it's good.
I enjoyed it.
Biggest disappointment. Now we get to be negative.
Yeah, pretty easily for me. Welcome to the ballroom.
Yep, same.
Yeah,
No
I still love the manga, and I'm keeping up on it, which is not difficult because the author is on a hiatus all the time. It's really hurt. But the anime brought out a lot of the inherent flaws in the characters that were less obvious reading the manga, mostly about their motivations and stuff like that. And the anime itself was not what I wanted from it production-wise at all. Even the music wasn't that great.
Music was barely there.
The music was a huge disappointment. And I think a lot of it stemmed from even before they started actually drawing the thing, just the mindset that the staff went into. You know, they puffed their chests out and said, oh, this isn't your BL thing like Yuri on Ice. And it's just like, you don't gotta be like that. Why don't you just make a good thing instead of trying to focus on not being BL?
I'm glad that was part of the conversation eventually, because like I think that actively detracted from it. They were trying so hard. I didn't think too much about it. I mean, I obviously had negative feelings when I first heard that the director was like trying to, like, I don't understand why. You have to have some serious arrogance to compare your show.
The dude's homophobic. That's why.
Well, but also you have to have some serious arrogance to compare your sports anime to literally the most popular sports anime from the previous year.
Yeah.
That
I think that what happened is they tried to make it more sports anime than it needed to be. Like, it's ballroom dancing and it is a competitive sport and it can be masculine and there's times for that, but I think they went way too hard on that. It did not work.
I don't know. It's just like, I think someone on ANN said it best when they were just like, it's like the show is actively encouraging you to not like any of the characters on screen. And they're doing that hard by showing all the characters on screen being as antagonistic to everyone else as humanly possible. Like, there's no feel-good moments in that show. Like, every feel-good moment is later undermined by some bullshit that completely runs counter to what you're supposed to believe the character is.
Like Mako and her brother.
Yeah, no, that's the worst part of the show for me.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating.
I like Mako so much, and it's annoying that she goes back to her shitty brother.
The main character and Mako's like dynamic is really great, and Mako is a really sweet character, and the whole idea of him building her up to be this incredibly good ballroom dancer and like bring her out of her shell only for her to then just recede right back into it and go right back to her brother at the end of it is so fucked. Like, some
Kumamiko shit. Get out of here.
It's gross. Yeah, I did not like it, and I did not like that show.
I did finish it though.
I didn't.
I did.
Yeah, I got to like episode 16 and I was out.
Well, like I said, I'm still gonna read the manga because I do enjoy the story arcs. And the characters, when they're being good, are being good. And when I read it in a 5-minute section instead of watching it drawn out for 23 minutes, it doesn't feel nearly as bad.
Yeah.
And the art in the manga is absolutely incredible and lacking giraffe necks.
That as well.
The designs were a big issue.
Yeah, they were not great.
They didn't work.
Yeah. Favorite studio?
My favorite studio will always be Trigger, especially with a year with Little Witch Academia. But instead, I went for like biggest surprise and who I wasn't expecting. Easily Pine Jam. Between Gamers and Just Because. Gamers blew me out of the fucking water. That was a classic, just huge surprise. That would have been my pick if it wasn't for Kimono Friends, because I was just like, oh, it's a silly harem thing about people that play video games, and it wound up being one of my favorites of that season. The characters were really fun. The comedy was on point. The animation was loose where it needed to be, strict where it needed to be, and it was just overall a great production that came out of nowhere. And then we had Just Because to end the year with, which was on the complete opposite side of the spectrum and an original production to boot, which is an incredible thing to happen for a fledgling studio.
Yeah, for a new studio to crank out two things like that, not only in the same year but back to back is pretty damn impressive. They really went good for it.
And I didn't see a lot of Madetawa, but what I did see, real good.
Yeah.
Pine Jam just came out of nowhere, and God, I am really looking forward to seeing what they get up to.
Yeah, should be interesting. I hope they keep getting up to shenanigans like that and don't like recede.
Just Because it's doing fairly well.
Yeah, so, good.
Japan likes it.
My favorite studio this year, and I'm starting to realize now might be my favorite studio period, is Bones. I
cannot argue against that.
I read a big article this year where ANN basically like broke down their entire production process for all their shows and like how they organize their studios, and like I've never like seen how a studio lays out its production and immediately loved them even more than I already did, because I was just like, it's so clear that they've got their the look and feel of each show just completely centered at each studio. Because like, there's one studio that does like Mob Psycho and Kekai Sensen, and you're like, Of course. Yeah, makes total sense. There's another studio that only does Bungo Stray Dogs. And you're like, yep, all right, yep. And then there's the A studio that does My Hero Academia, and that has a very specific look to it, and you're just like, oh, yeah.
Like Sunrise.
And then their D studio is the one that's doing the Netflix thing that nobody remembers, but is actually happening, and I'm interested in whatever that's going to be. But yeah, I just like the fact that they are like one of the biggest anime studios operating right now. They have a lot of time and a lot of money and a lot of employees, and yet still, I don't think they've put out a show since I've started watching anime regularly that I didn't like.
Bones is solid, and
it's incredible.
as a studio, the character they have is so entertaining. The way that they interact with fans, and this is just personal experiences going to conventions. They have by far the most charismatic
fucking
staff that show up.
Masahiko Minami, their president,
Minami is like
a treasure.
I never miss a panel that he's in because he just fucking brings it. He's super real. He talks about what he loves about the industry, talks about what he doesn't like about the industry, and makes jokes.
Yeah.
Dude came out with a fucking spoon to bend when he was talking about Mob Psycho.
Yeah.
Like, so fucking lovable.
Also the fact that a studio that huge can also not only have character, but also like have such a distinct reputation for experimental visual stuff is really incredible. Because if you think about like the past 5 years and the shows that they've put out, the big ones that aren't like My Hero Academia have all just been visually insane shows like Mob Psycho, Space Dandy, Kekai Sensen, like all these like crazy, huge, popular, big budget shows that have like a shitload of people working on them that also look like they should be like they should be like an art house film, like in the way that they're done. It's really incredible, and I'm just constantly impressed by their ability to consistently just crank out work that is both appealing to a mass audience, but also like not afraid to, as they say in the industry, go off model. Like not afraid to just go fucking buck wild with it when it needs to.
No,
and like
they have fun.
The fact that they have Yutaka Nakamura, which it would be enough to put them on top for me already, but also the fact that they just turn Yutaka Nakamura loose in ways that, especially with this past season of Kekai Sensen, I never thought I'd see Yutaka Nakamura doing. Like, he did like a comedy bit in KK's episode.
KK's episode. And it was so funny seeing that because I was like, is that Yutaka Nakamura? Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's
100%.
In a fucking like just domestic.
Obviously
scene.
there is no action animator that is better than Yutaka Nakamura right now, but also there is no action animator that is more distinctive than Yutaka Nakamura. It's so easy to see his style. But they really, they let him out of the box. Like he has no rules when animating, clearly, and boy does it show, because like he does some crazy looking shit that any other studio would just be like, yo, we got to rein this in. This doesn't look like this anime at all. The cut in the last
episode in BBB was, he used some new techniques there. I don't know if they have words for them yet, but man, it was something.
Yeah, and like he's constantly surprising people too. Like he had that cut in the first episode of Kekai Sensen this season where just no impact frames at all. Yeah, even though it was like one of the most dynamically like just motion filled, perspective stretching, also filled with like a shitload of like insane liquid animation. Like
try to top himself from the first season.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the guy is just, he is emblematic of why Bones is such an interesting studio to follow, because he's consistently deviant. He is consistent in how crazy and experimental he gets, and Bones is the reason why he does what he does. He's allowed to do it. Yeah, I think
that influences the other animators too.
Yeah, it's fucking, but Bones also just has no shortage of incredibly talented animators. There's a reason why people get excited whenever you hear other shows being like, oh yeah, we're partnering with Bones and bringing in Bones animators. It's like, there's a reason for that. It's because they want their show to look cool. And when you want a thing to look cool, you go to Bones. They're like literally number one on the list of, we want our show to be outside of the box visually. Bones. That's all you. That's the only word you need to say, and that's why I'm so excited for Fully Cooley 2. Because Bahi JG just announced that he was working on it today, and I am so fucking excited. Can't wait. It's going to be awesome. So, yeah, Bones is the best. I fucking love them. They're great. They're like if Trigger was 30 years older and all like incredibly high all the time, probably. If there's any studio where animators are coming in high off their ass, it's Bones.
It's Bones.
Not just animators, but also like executives
Everybody.
and people in the marketing department and accounts receivable.
Accounts payable.
Smoking that perp in the
Definitely
bathroom.
That blueberry yum yum going.
Yeah.
All right.
Strawberry explosion.
I never thought it would taste so good. Okay.
All right.
Let's keep going.
Favorite movie?
This is a tough one for me.
To see if you chose the same one. Probably not.
They're probably not. There's so many good ways to go with this, and there's a lot of movies that came out at the tail end that I haven't seen. Uchiage Hanabi, I haven't seen Lou Over the Wall, or the Night is Short Girl Walk On, or is it Long Girl?
Night is Short Walk On Girl.
Yeah, that one. So I haven't seen either of Masaki Yuasa's, which like automatically have to be in the running. Ordinal Scale was amazing for what it tried to do. Sword Online had a great movie showing. There were a bunch of other like.
It's always fun to see a big budget.
Yeah.
Shonen movie like that.
Yep. Kizumonogatari finally ended and had some of the craziest, most comedically violent things I'd ever seen in my life, on top of just being good. I had to go within this corner of the world, though.
Yeah, that's not surprising.
I forgot to mention Hiro Hime. That was also like really good and made my like. That's more or less a children's movie.
Keep in mind also, technically, Your Name came out in the U.S. this year, and almost nobody other than the people who either saw it in Japan or saw it at Anime Expo.
Yeah, had seen it. Yeah,
had seen it. So
that counts. Yeah,
because the Blu-ray didn't come out until this year, so even in Japan,
Your Name was incredible. But in this corner of the world is special. That's like the only way I can put it. You know, anytime you touch World War II in media, it can be touchy. You know, times that 10 times over.
Especially from the Japanese perspective.
Yeah, I was about to say touch that 10 times over when it's Japanese creators doing it.
Yeah.
It's touchy and it's going to be emotional and it's really easy to fall flat. And that is one thing this movie did not do. And the endless optimism from the cast is something special. If you haven't treated yourself to this film, you go and buy it. It's out in the States. It's by 11 Arts. The Blu-ray is like, I think it's like $17 on Amazon. Like, fucking do it. Watch it alone unless you don't care about your friends seeing you cry, because you will. It's another Grave of the Fireflies, a great film that I never want to see again.
yeah.
But no, I've watched it a second time, and it might be even better the second time. The art style is so unique and so soft, and it fits.
I really like the character designs in that movie a lot.
Why can't I think of her name? I want to say it's like Sune or Sune. It means like Suzu. It's Suzu. The art style fit because Suzu, the main character in the film, is an artist, and the art style in it kind of stems from her art style in the movie, and it makes such a unique atmosphere, and it extends all the way, and it's like soft and fluffy, and you're dealing with air raids on a regular basis. It's very fuwa
time.
I could talk at length about the film. I'll spare you all though. If you ever want to talk to me about it, I haven't spoken to enough people that have seen the film, so hit me up sometime. But it's fantastic. Definitely my film of the year out of the ones I've seen. I'm excited for next year too. I'm going back to Japan in February, and I'm sure I'm going to watch another. I think I watched 6 movies in theaters last trip, and I'm sure I'll do the same.
My favorite movie this year was Silent Voice. There was not a piece of media this year that I consumed that left me feeling quite like what I was feeling after Silent Voice. I was wrestling a lot of a lot of stuff,
a lot of emotions there.
It really I think, you know, it's very much its own thing. I know a lot of people had some problems with how the source material was adapted, but basically as soon as that movie started, I completely forgot about the source material because it was, you know, obviously Naoko Yamada very much set out to make her, she always sets out to make, you know, her own thing out of adaptations that she does. But I think really she, you know, she made her own thing, kind of the star of the show this time. And it's a hell of a thing, man. It's flawlessly made, flawlessly animated. The voice acting is among some of the best voice acting I've ever heard in an anime, or really in anything. Can't wait to hear the English dub when it comes out on Blu-ray.
Oh, man.
Because they actually have hired a real deaf actress to play Shoko. Yeah, Shoko. So I'm super excited to hear that. But just overall, I mean, what an amazing story. What an amazing slice of life that has real life or death stakes, which is not something that you really ever see in a slice of life. But I cannot get over how much I love the trope of something bad happens in childhood and then the main character wants to resolve it in adulthood. I love that so much. I
just
love
that he was a shitty kid and it hurt.
Yeah.
Like, it hurt him as much as it hurt others.
Yeah.
He felt it and went to fix it.
And the movie did such a good job of really making you feel his misery, and helping you go along the ride for his redemption was really amazing. And it was also, a very kind movie it was a kind story to the characters that to me did not deserve kindness. There were some characters in that movie that did some pretty irredeemable shit, and yet, the story still, managed to give them some small form of redemption in the end and make them, at least acceptable characters, which I thought was really impressive. I'm trying to remember what his friend's name is.
The big guy?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
He's my favorite character in that movie. I loved
really
him
good.
so much.
He tried so hard. And he was the glue, man.
He is the exact opposite of what in any other anime that character would be, which is like mostly comic relief and not much substance. He had so much substance, such a good person, so self-sacrificial. Is very much like Nikaido from March Comes In Like a Lion, but like even better. Even better, even more self-sacrificial, like just very much like pinning himself to the cross for the people that he loves. And I was, it's really great to see like, a short, chubby kid being portrayed as like a noble character, because in anime he's usually just the butt of all the jokes. Also, he was fashionable as shit.
He was
wearing those like undone suspenders. Like, what the fuck, man? That's some gacked shit. Like, for real.
I can't believe Gak's real name is Gakuto. Fuck.
Yeah, Degozara.
God fucking.
All right. Moving on.
Yes,
we're getting into the nitty gritty now. Favorite adaptation?
I did My Hero Academia.
Oh.
Yeah. I went with that for one reason. Mostly, I mean, obviously it was a good adaptation, but I had issues with the first season, and that they really, really stretched it out, and that was the only real issue I had with My Hero Academia, and that wasn't an issue this time.
Yeah.
The pacing was much tighter. I never felt bored. It went blow for blow with the manga. It didn't miss anything. It added things where applicable, and it's everything I want to see in an adaptation.
Yeah. Mine was Land of the Lustrous.
I haven't read the original, so I didn't go for that.
Having had to do a lot of, because I was very interested in Studio Orange. I have read a shitload of like behind the scenes stuff this season on how that show was made and how
Sagaboro has some great stuff on that.
Yeah, how it relates to the original like designs and adaptations. And it's it's interesting when you're always a show that so heavily revolves around color, especially in this show where it's like we're talking about like literal like 3D modeled like gem hair. It's so interesting to see like how much access the anime team had to like the original design docs from the manga, because like obviously the manga is entirely in black and white.
Yeah.
So color plays no role there. Whereas in this show, color is like 90% of what makes it interesting visually. And not only color, but like also light and how it like refracts through hair, how it, affects different pieces of the gems. Like it's truly a visual feast from start to finish. And it's everything that it's actually more than I had hoped for from Orange. Cause I had just hoped for like a visually interesting show. And this was just like straight up groundbreaking in almost every way for CGI and anime. And,
definitely.
I can't speak to how well it adapted the story of the manga, but I never once saw a complaint about it, so I would assume it did pretty damn well.
It's always a sign of a good adaptation where all the people who are fans of the original go, I can't wait to see how they tackle this.
Yeah.
Which was something I saw time and time again on Twitter.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just... there's so much wiggle room for what could possibly go wrong visually with that show, especially since they're like basically pioneering new techniques in CGI for like how to portray these characters on screen. And the fact that they managed to nail basically everything is pretty incredible. So thank you, Studio Orange. You are
did good.
The fucking best. I love you. On to favorite original. I'm going to go first because I have a caveat. I don't know if Little Witch Academia is an original or not.
I consider it an original. That was my favorite. I consider it an original because there were the OVAs, but they didn't adapt anything, and they went and did from the beginning.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
an original production.
Yeah. Well, that's mine then. Yeah.
Well, what was your other one?
Well, if it didn't count, I was going to say Recreators because that's really the only other like totally original show that I felt that strongly about.
Yeah. It's definitely a Little Witch Academia for me. I totally consider that an original because there were like altogether 45 minutes worth of stuff before, and they scrapped it, went from the beginning, and it was a good story from the ground up. It was a fantastic world, amazing characters, everything came together seamlessly, and it was creative. And especially knowing what we know about how much more they have to the world that we don't know yet. Yeah. Just like the backstories that Yoshinari was able to give at the panel at Anime Expo is just
that's really
there's
cool.
so much there.
I really like that there is a studio and that it is Trigger, but I really like that there's a studio where like the majority of its productions are entirely original. Like,
bless them.
That's pretty.
It's such a hard thing.
Pretty
to
crazy for nowadays. I mean, they are a pretty small studio, all things considered.
They're a small studio, and they have all the clout in the world. They're one of the few studios that have like a complete brand.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, people will watch things because it's Bones. People will watch things because it's Sunrise. But I feel like with Trigger, almost a majority of the people watching are watching because it is Trigger.
Yeah, there's an incredibly dedicated fan base for Trigger. And I think a lot of that is to do with the fact that they just crank out
have a brand.
Consistently good original productions. I mean, basically, since they've started, they've specialized in their big shows being entirely original.
Yeah.
And we're going to have at least... one of
Darling in the Franxx, and what was is Promare next year? That might be 19.
I think Promare is 19. I know. Even though it's not an adaptation, I want to say Gridman is fall 2018.
Yeah,
I think they announced that.
Darling in the Franxx.
I'm so fucking ready for both of those shows.
Yeah,
Darling in the Franxx and Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad Gridman.
I'm a lot less ready for Gridman.
I am 1,000% ready for Gridman. I want Akira Amamiya to be unleashed. In the best way. Patrick, it's called Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad Gridman.
I know.
There is no better title for a show that Akira Amamiya is making.
You're not wrong. I just don't know if my body is ready.
And that PV, it literally didn't have any animation in it, and I still was so fucking hyped up to see it. Man. So I'm like just interesting. I'm very interested to see how a 2017 or 2018 modern anime handles a giant hero show like Ultraman. Also, Subaraya is part of that thing. So it's going to be really fucking weird and interesting, and I'm very excited for it.
It's going to turn some heads.
Yeah, it's going to turn my head down to my dick.
I knew you couldn't let it end there.
No.
I was like, where's he going with it?
All right. The time has come. It's time to give our anime of the year.
Yeah, the least surprising thing for both of us.
Okay, you go first.
It's Little Witch Academia.
Okay. Yeah, that's surprising.
Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, mine is one that is not probably, I mean, not one that I've definitely talked about at all in this list, but it is Descending Stories, Showa Genryoku Rakugo Shinju. This was my anime of the year last year too.
I felt really fucking good.
I felt a lot less sure about it last year than I do this year. I knew as soon as that show ended that there was not going to be a single thing that would measure up in the department of just being a show that comes along like maybe once in a lifetime. It is too good maybe to be an anime, but I'm glad it was.
Next time we do this award show, we need to make a note, because Miles from Crunchyroll started a thread, which would have been perfect for this, which is, what was your favorite like singular moment in anime in 2017? And Rakugo would have had mine with Konatsu doing a Jugum. Like that was fucking everything. Honestly,
the episode where, and huge spoilers by the way, if you haven't seen the show yet, don't listen to this, but the episode where Kikuhiko actually crosses over into the afterlife just absolutely fundamentally tore me down at my basic essence. It was devastatingly beautiful. I couldn't believe it. Like, my mouth was hanging open the entire time. I was just so beside myself with so many emotions, and getting that time skip episode at the end where you see Konatsu and Yotaro's kids, and they're all grown up, and they're like, sitting at the tip of a Rakugo empire. It's exactly the type of ending of that show. And like, honestly, if there was one shot, like, an actual like
one moment
screen grab that I could take to just represent all of my feelings about anime in 2018, it would be the scene is the very end of the last episode, where it's the two sakura trees, and under one is one generation, and under the other is the next generation.
Yeah.
Because that show so much was about, telling a generational story. And, again, it goes back to like seeing the effects of the decisions that people make across like, decades is such an interesting way to tell a story, and
especially
it adds
when
so
all
much
the characters were interesting.
Yeah, and it adds so much gravity to everything that happens in the show. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I mean, it's also to say nothing about like the music was just incredible, and incredibly varied. The performances from voice actors that you couldn't have a more exquisite list of voice actors to have performing in that show. It truly was a treat from start to finish, and the second half was honestly better than the first, because it was the part that I was waiting for. I was really interested in Yotaro, I was really interested in Konatsu and their stories, and they went in completely different directions than I thought they would. Konatsu turned out to be so much more of a flawed character than I thought she was going to end up being. She was so much more like her mother. And I could see that like destroyed her. And it just, her dynamic with Kikuhiko was so interesting. And it's just, what a devastatingly beautiful experience from start to finish. And the fact that thing has not even been like announced for a Western release in any form is
so upsetting,
disgusting. Like, I don't know how, like, honestly, Discotech should get on it. They're the ones that should release that show. It's
go knock on their door. They're only a couple hours away.
I know. Like, I want to drive up to their offices in Altamont and just be like, license Rakugo, please, God, I need this in my life. Yeah. So it's, I mean, I don't know if I'm ever again going to have, the same show as my anime of the year twice in a row, 2 years in a row, but Rakugo is the one to do it.
That's a good one.
For sure. Anyways, you want to say anything to wrap up this thing?
I want to spoil next year's, where my favorite will be Cardcaptor Sakura Clear Card Arc.
Shocking.
That's already decided. Just it's fine. It's fine. No, this was a decent year for anime. The highs were not as high as the previous year, and the lows were not as low, but we got some good shit.
Yeah, I'm very excited for 2018.
2018 is going to be.
2018 is going to be a crazy year.
It's going to be crazy.
And we'll see you there, y'all.
Yeah.
This is the end of the episode. Onoanime.moe is the place to go
when you can establish a connection to the database.
When it's not down always.
I need to clean up.
We'll get there.
someday.
On the checklist for 2018. Anyways, guys, we have a lot more year-end content on the channel and all of the other places that we put stuff in our crazy spread out bullshit on the internet. Go in the description of this video or in the podcast description to find all the links to that stuff. And we'll see you in 2018.
See ya.
アイコンは誰だらららすれ違いざま鏡なびかすあの子もタイムレス誰もが選んできたようなパターンタイムレスきっとそうさみんながオリジナルタイムレス水たまに気分沈んだ